Breaking news. The Formula One 2021 car has been revealed. Finally, we've seen snippets, we've seen rough drawings, rough plans, but today we've got the first proper look at what the car is going to look like. If you're new to this channel, which quite a few of you are at the moment, you might not know that when it comes to aerodynamics and physics of Formula One, that's not really my forte. However, if you've been here since last season, if you've been here since the winter, you know one of the biggest things I love about Formula One is design, aesthetics, livery. I mean, I've even done videos on helmet design. That is one of the biggest things I love about Formula One. And so in this video, we're going to talk about how the car actually looks, because the reason you want to talk about aerodynamics is, can the car overtake? The reality is, we're not going to really truly know until the cars get racing in that first race of the season in 2021. That being said, all of the data that I can understand, and some of it is in quite generic terms, this car is designed for closer racing, designed for more overtakes, for drivers to be able to not get stuck behind cars, to be able to make tyre life last much longer, basically just make this show a hell of a lot better, which I don't think any of us are complaining about. But I think today especially, we're not really going to get a gist of any of that for quite some time. And so one of the biggest things is the liveries. Well, not necessarily the liveries, but the car design itself. What do we think? Of course, as I sometimes do, in the top right hand corner of the screen, you're going to be able to vote if you love it, if you hate it, if it's okay, if you're not really a fan. I want to know your thoughts and these awesome designs by Tim Holmes Designs. I'm going to link his Instagram in the description because these look incredible with the 2019 liveries on them. The car itself I don't think's too bad. Actually, when I first saw some of the initial plans of the car, I really wasn't too sure. But now seeing it with liveries on it, I think it looks okay. We're losing quite a lot of the side of the cars. They're not going to be quite as wide as before, which, as I said a minute ago, is really going to help out with overtaking. I like the front nose. The front wing, I think, looks pretty smart. Reminds me of a 1990s Formula One car, especially the 1990 McLaren. That whole front end reminds me of. You can see it even more clearer, I think, on the Ferrari. We've also got these funky little winglets hanging over the front tyres, which I think are quite interesting. It's not quite as elaborate as Formula E, and I think that's definitely something the FIA and Formula One had to consider when making this car, is they don't want to make it too much like a Formula E car. They've got to keep it its own separate thing, and I think they've done a really good job of doing that. The halo, I think, is integrated much better than the current one. I'm not the biggest hater of the current halo, and I think we've all got pretty used to that over the last couple of seasons. I think this is designed a hell of a lot better. I think the way it's a little bit further down the nose, but also stretches further down the car, I think makes it blend in so much better. I know some of these liveries, like the one on screen with Red Bull, it's just a black one, just stamped on the front of the car, which doesn't always look brilliant, but I think definitely on the new design, that's looking a bit better, for sure. The rear wing is the other big change. Now, the rear wing seems to be without a DRS, for starters, which is quite interesting, but again, that might just be because these are starter drawings, but I'm not too sure about that. That's definitely going to take some getting used to, but I think overall, it's not the biggest change. I think I expected wider cars. I think I expected a more aggressive looking. That's definitely what the developers of the 2017 regulation car were really trying to go for, but that hasn't worked out. This Mingin livery, hopefully we can get rid of that as well. The toothpaste Williams livery, hopefully that'll be gone at the end of the season and never return. But I think it's a really good livery to show off just the shape of the car. And even that shape of the car, I think makes the livery look better. So I'm really interested to see what teams are going to be able to do with it. But I'm always also interested to see how much of effect this is going to have on the overall racing. That's exactly why these regulations have been brought in. And okay, if you don't like the design, are you happy for them to have this design, but the racing to be much better? Because I know for a lot of people, if the cars don't suit them, if they don't like the look of the cars, I personally, I'm not a big fan of closed cockpit racing. It's still racing at the end of the day, but it's not just what I'm looking for. So definitely, for some fans, they're going to be put off by this design of car, which is totally fine. Definitely not for me. I'm a big fan of this car. It's much better than I envisioned. Again, not quite as wide and maybe as aggressive as I would have thought, but I think it's smart. I'm really interested to see what little designs they're going to add to the cars, like we saw a couple of years ago with the T-Wing, the shark fin. Those little gadgets and gizmos are going to be really interesting to see. But that's my initial thoughts for the Formula 1 2020 car. Let me know yours in the comments below and in the poll in the top right hand corner. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.